And now, a message from the president of the Circus Catch podcast.
My fellow Americans, I am sick. Not just physically, but I'm sick of acting like this isn't the most important time of the year for Americans. 4th of July, Thanksgiving, throw all that out the window. We got Kansas City Chiefs, we got Philadelphia Eagles, we got the Super Bowl, so we're going to do an extra long episode today to celebrate. God bless America, and God bless the circus, the thing. Welcome everybody, Jesse Larson, Jordan Wright. Welcome to the Circus Catch, the Super Bowl special, episode 9. Jesse, thanks for being here with me this week.
Good to be here. I'm not a serious Super Bowl fanatic this week because my Bills are out, but hey, it's a good festive weekend. I'm excited for this upcoming matchup.
Hey man, I checked out a while ago. My Rams haven't been in it since I'll say October.
I hear that.
We've got so much to get into that's Super Bowl related this week, but there's so much going on in the sports world, and I didn't want to discount that. So Jesse, we are going to do a very, very quick round robin of things that are happening in the sports world. Go ahead and take it away.
All right, so first off, we want to talk about what happened between Illinois and Iowa with Illinois student section, the Orange Crush. They have this thing where their student section, the Orange Crush, they purchase a bunch of tickets for their group to go to one away game every year. They've been doing it since 2002. Well, this year they did it under the guise of a chapter of the Illinois Boys and Girls Club of America. Well, Iowa found out about it and waited until 3 days prior to the actual game to say, nah, you're not coming, and voided all 200 of the Orange Crush Illini tickets. And now the chapter is out $6,000 in travel. I don't know about you, Jordan, but you lie, you gotta get what's coming to you personally.
Well, it's over in Brooklyn, folks. Kyrie Irving, aka the hopes and dreams of the Nets, requested a trade after not being able to reach an agreement for a contract extension with the team. On Sunday, Kyrie was traded to the Dallas Mavericks. Let's take a look at both sides here. For the Mavs, this was a no-brainer. Being as close as it is in the West, the team felt like they were just one superstar away from owning the top spot, barring injury, of course. But for the Nets, this feels like the definitive moment of defeat. The volatile Big Three was a failed experiment. With KD sidelined, Kyrie was absolutely running the show there. The Nets made a complete 180, but Jason Kidd, ironically enough, gave his old team the old 360-degree back to mediocrity. By the way, Durant, yeah, he requested a trade before the season. Let's see how long he stays.
So it seems the infamy in Colorado State University's student section isn't in the past anymore. On Saturday night against Utah State, they chanted Russia, Russia, Russia at a player for Utah State, Max Shulga, who's from Ukraine, while he was shooting free throws down the stretch. His family still living in Kiev, Ukraine, and amidst the war going on in the East Slavic country, this is just not the right thing for the Colorado State student section to really do.
Jesse, not even the Manning brothers could save the Pro Bowl games this year. The NFL's new take on an already dying weekend of boredom only placed heavier weights on the anchor dragging down this dreadful event that still dares to call itself an NFL game. What are we doing here, NFL? Why do other leagues' All-Star weekends tend to thrive? All-Star weekend for Major League Baseball, NBA, to somewhat of a lesser degree the NHL? Let me give you my take on this one. First of all, move the damn thing back to Hawaii already. No disrespect to Orlando, no disrespect to Las Vegas, but these guys want to treat their families to a tropical paradise. Make it feel like an actual vacation. Second, end alternating bye weeks. Have a mid-season break like everyone else. People will pay attention, and all fantasy players will be grateful for the end of bye week hell as well.
Well, Jordan, in the midst of the heated conference season in college basketball, There is possibly no greater parity in any sport at the college level than there is in men's college basketball. 15 top 25 teams went down, including number 1 ranked Purdue, when they went down to rival Indiana 79-74 in Assembly Hall in Bloomington. Also going down, number 15 TCU, number 7 Kansas State, and even Gonzaga went down in a West Coast Conference game to their rival St. Mary's. March is coming, folks, and it's shaping up to be one of the most chaotic March Madness seasons in NCAA history.
The most inconvenient athlete in my life, Tom Brady, decided to make it difficult on me one last time. Brady unceremoniously retired for the second time, which happened between the editing and posting of episode 8, so I had no time to add it to last week's show. Brady's career was supposed to be over last year after suffering a divisional round loss at the hands of my Rams, but came back one last season just to ensure that didn't happen, and that the Buccaneers would be locked into a first-place schedule for 2023, have no quarterback going into the year, and, to top it off, just to suffer an embarrassing loss in the wild card in their blowout against Dallas, having almost no chance of succeeding for years to come. But in all seriousness, Tom Brady is the GOAT, the greatest and most successful player of all time. Hard to argue with a man who can boast more Super Bowl wins than any franchise in the league. So speaking for all Rams fans and Raiders fans, Panthers fans, Eagles, Seahawks, Falcons, Chiefs, Colts, Broncos, Ravens, Jets, Bills, Dolphins, Saints, you get the point. We're all glad to go enjoy yourself, Brady.
Generally speaking, when you're on your home floor, you would expect to have the whistles go your way. But in this weekend's version of the Tobacco Road rivalry between Duke and North Carolina, in Chapel Hill it went the other way. The Tobacco Road rivalry saw North Carolina take just 3 free throws on 2 trips to the line, a 31-minute stretch where the Tar Heels didn't see the stripe at all. But it's puzzling, Jordan. The Tar Heels go to the stripe more times per game than any other team in the ACC, and 130 times more than Duke this season. So what gives? Not sure that you can even quantify that this game did not come down to the refs putting a little more bias towards the Blue Devils.
Jesse, continuing my theme of inconvenient athletes, one LeBron James, at this moment that we're doing this right now, is still chasing the all-time scoring crown in the NBA. Prior to the release of this episode, the King is 36 points behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for that title. The Lakers play at home against the Thunder Tuesday night, where all eyes will be on the building, formerly known as the Staples Center, to see history potentially be made. If he can't get 36 versus the Thunder, the Lakers play the Milwaukee Bucks Thursday night on TNT, setting us up for one of the greatest records to ever be broken involving both teams Kareem played for. LeBron, please wait until Thursday. Either way, it's going to be amazing, and we'll give the story its proper due on next week's show.
Jordan, if you and I were alive back in 1950 and we were watching Tennessee, number 2 Tennessee and number 25 Auburn, taking the court on Saturday night, and we saw the 46-43 game, we would have been in shock at how high scoring and how emphatically offensively powered the game was. But it's 2023. Folks, this game went down as the 4th lowest scoring game in the shot clock era. And it was so abysmally bad that both teams combined to shoot 5 for 48 from three-point range. Tennessee shot 27% from the floor, and Auburn shot even worse than that at 24%. It was bad. Tennessee is still number 2 ranked in the country, and they still won the game. So, Jordan, over to you.
Perfect. And that's the news, folks. Earlier this week, I had a chance to visit the White House. I'm super excited to show you guys an inside look at my time at the White House this weekend. Let's check it out.
So as promised, here at the White House with Mr. Zach White. Zach White, thank you for being on the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Been wanting you on the show for a while. Zach White, formerly, as I understand, of the Red, White, and Dudes podcast. Go ahead and tell us what's been going on with you guys.
Yes, formerly of the Red, White, and Dudes podcast. We had a good, short little run, but some things kind of got in our way. So we've actually moved over to streaming. So Me, Kel, and Daniel, the guys that were on it before, we're all streaming now, playing Warzone, all kinds of different games. So if you want to check us out, my tag is Formal Orange. Check me out, and then you can find the other guys on there.
Right on. Zach, how did you become an Eagles fan? I need to know.
Okay, so I became an Eagles fan when I was probably about 12 or 13. I'd been watching the Titans for a little bit, and I liked the Titans, but then I saw Javon Curse. And as soon as Javon Curse jumped over to Philadelphia, I moved over, and I've been with them ever since. So Javon Curse made me an Eagles fan.
I'm really digging the Reggie White jersey, man. The old school throwback.
Thank you.
That's great.
Figure it's fitting. Got my name on it. His name works for me.
Perfect. Minister of Defense.
Yeah.
So, Zach, the audience also wants to know, and I'm pretty sure I can guess this, but at the moment, what is your favorite Super Bowl moment?
My favorite Super Bowl moment? Philly special.
Of course.
Philly, man.
What was going through your mind when that happened?
I had absolutely no idea what Nick Foles was doing. When I saw him standing there kind of looking, and then he took off running, I'm like, what is this guy doing? And then here comes the ball. Dude, it was perfect. I lost my mind. I jumped up and down, high-fived everybody. It was awesome.
Do you feel like there was quite a bit of retribution for the city of Philadelphia for beating Tom Brady when he had beaten you guys previously?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I was stoked about. I was like, you know what? We got Brady. Nick Foles is only the second quarterback to beat him in the Super Bowl. I was stoked for it.
There's a lot of different narratives coming into this game. Number one being that this is the Andy Reid Bowl, your guys' former head coach,
right,
and the guy you dress up as for Halloween sometimes. How does it feel to be facing Andy Reid again?
Good for Andy Reid. I mean, he got us there once before. Now, of course, he's back there with the Chiefs. I wish he was still with us for it, but he's a good coach, so it'll be good for them. It'll be a good game.
And also having the Kelsey brothers on, I know that they're two of the wildest and best players in the league. Yeah. How do you think that the narrative is going to go for that one?
That's tough. I mean, I love Jason Kelsey, obviously, as an Eagles fan, but Travis Kelsey himself, I mean, the dude is hilarious. He's a great player. I mean, one of the best to ever do it. But it is cool to go in there and see two brothers, first brothers to play against each other in a Super Bowl. I mean, how do you think his mom feels?
I'm sure she's happy.
Yeah.
You can't lose either way, but at the same time, somebody's got to go down.
Yep, someone has to lose.
All right, last thing real quick, Zach. I need a prediction for this game. Who do you think's going to win?
I think it's going to be a battle, but I do think Philadelphia will pull it off.
All right. By what score?
I'm going to say 34-31. I think Jake
Nice.
Elliott's going to kick a game winner.
Jake Elliott with a game winner. Nice. I like that.
That's it.
I like that. That's all you can hope for in a Super Bowl is a close game, one that comes down to the wire. We don't want to see any of these big blowouts. We want to see a repeat of Super Bowl 52, high scoring all the way through.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
And now it's time for us to give out our awards. Who we think is going to win the NFL honors this weekend. Jesse, let's start with Offensive Rookie of the Year. For my Offensive Rookie of the Year, I have Kenneth Walker III, and I understand a lot of people want to go with a guy like Brock Purdy, who had an amazing last half of the season. Well, I think of it this way. That's exactly it. He played half a season. If we're going to add guys like him, why don't we get a guy like Breece Hall up there? So Kenneth Walker III had an incredible year all the way around, over 1,000 yards as a rookie, a real revelation in the Seattle backfield. A Seattle backfield who, by the way, has been decimated over the last few years. He had 9 touchdowns. Get this, he had 10 rushes this year of 20 or more yards. And the fact that he had no turnovers as well, I think that bodes well in his favor to win this award.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a Jets rookie on the offensive side with Garrett Wilson. Jordan led all rookies in receptions with 67, 966 yards. Both of those are Jets rookie records as well. So easily my pick. Kudos though, Kenneth Walker III, who was actually my number 2 pick. So I like where your head's going, but I just had to go one step above, and I thought Wilson just had a little bit better of a nod with the overall franchise numbers, and then leading all rookies with his receiving numbers.
All right, so those are our picks for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Jesse, who's your pick for Defensive Rookie of the Year?
So we've talked about it on the show quite a few times, and you know how much I love this guy. Number 4 overall pick, Sauce Gardner, also from the Jets. It's just, to me, no contest. I mean, the guy has proven time and time again he is an elite corner as just a rookie. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but just proven time and time again that he is already an elite first-team All-Pro cornerback.
Yeah, we're on the same page with that one. Sauce Gardner is my Defensive Rookie of the Year, and I don't think it's particularly close. I think maybe Aiden Hutchinson might be the second, but he's pretty far behind where Sauce was this year. I've said it on the show before, too. This guy might already be the best cornerback in the league. 20 pass breakups this year, only 1 touchdown allowed, and that was all the way back in week 2 against Cleveland. It's his only touchdown allowed, Jesse, in either the NFL or in college. Sauce Gardner literally runs away with this award for me. Okay, next award, Coach of the Year. This one, I think you're going to like my pick on this one, Jesse. I'm going Brian Daboll with this one. His first season with the New York Giants really just transformed that culture. A culture that historically has been a winning culture, but not since 2016. This was their first playoff appearance this year since 2016 with their rookie head coach. And they also got their first playoff win since 2011 over the Vikings this year. The way that he came in, and it's true what they say, he's a quarterback whisperer. He transformed Josh Allen up in Buffalo as the offensive coordinator. This year, we see the work he did with Daniel Jones. Brian Daboll gets it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say, man. It's just the work that he did in Buffalo. I was really sad to see him go, obviously, but such admiration for him. And I was so excited to see him get a head coaching job. I mean, the guy definitely deserved it. And to me, I mean, I know a lot of people are going to say Nick Sirianni, taking Philadelphia to the Super Bowl, but just the transformation that Daboll had, taking a 4-win Giants team to the playoffs, just an overall transformation. I'm so excited for Brian and to keep seeing what he's doing. I got to give the nod, of course, to Brian Daboll.
Now let's move on. Offensive Player of the Year, Jesse. I'm going to go ahead and ask you to go first. Who do you got for Offensive Player of the Year?
So my biggest thing for this one, I didn't want to take a quarterback. I mean, the obvious picks are always quarterbacks when it comes to this because they're the ones in the spotlight the most. So I don't know how you feel about that, Jordan, but I went away from that position. And to me, there was no one other than Justin Jefferson to pick. I mean, over 100 receptions, 1,600 receiving yards, just putting an absolute receiving clinic. And I mean, I love Stephon Diggs in Buffalo, obviously, but the guy is an absolute animal. 9 100-yard receiving games. I can't say enough great things about Justin Jefferson. And there's so many great games that he had, including the game he had in Buffalo. It just, I don't know, Jordan.
Those are some out of this world numbers. And Jesse, those are the exact reasons that I also took Justin Jefferson as Offensive Player of the Year this year. Yeah, exactly. I do like the train of thought there. I wanted to go with who do I think is the most talented and showed off the most talent at their position. And for me, that was Justin Jefferson. He's the only player in NFL history to have over 3,000 receiving yards in his first 2 years, and he did even better in his third year. He had more receiving yards this year than in any other year of his career, to go along with 8 touchdowns and just these freakishly athletic plays that he does and the way that he leads that Minnesota offense in pretty much every statistical category you can think of for a receiver. Man, yeah, like you said, Stephon Diggs was amazing in Minnesota, and I'm sure you're glad to have him in Buffalo. But getting Justin Jefferson, this guy, he's got a super bright future ahead of him. I like how Joe Burrow, who was interviewed the other day, asking who his favorite receiver was, whether it was Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, and he had no comment. Well, Jamar Chase was sitting next to him. I will confidently say it is Justin Jefferson who is the better receiver. All right, going on to Defensive Player of the Year. For me, this was kind of a no-brainer. Nick Bosa had that wrapped up for me. Led the league in sacks this year. He had 18 tackles for loss as well. the way that he even transformed himself from being one of the most dominant players in the league to what I think is probably the most dominant player in the league overall, hired a personal chef, got faster, got leaner, if you can imagine, just to get quicker, but still didn't lose any muscle. It was crazy to see him on the field this year. The way he got back to the quarterback as fast as he did this year. I just think Nick Bosa, hands down. I don't really see anybody who comes in close after that.
Well, like we were talking about off camera, Jordan, this is like the one contentious pick that we had against each other. I went with Micah Parsons, actually. So Parsons had 6 games with multiple sacks, with at least 2 sacks this season. He had 13 overall, 2 fumble recoveries, 3 forced fumbles. He had 1 defensive touchdown. He had 59 tackles. The only player with 13 plus sacks, multiple forced fumbles, and multiple fumble recoveries last season was the defensive player of the year, TJ Watt. So I think it goes to show that, you put up numbers like that, history says you're going to have the award in your pocket come the end of the season. And I'm not discounting the season that Bosa had, but Bosa led the league in sacks and QB pressures and QB hits. He was second in QB pressures. I don't think it's as far and away as you're saying it is. I think Parsons is right there with him. But I gave the nod to Parsons based on the overall complete body of work.
We'll see. I feel like Parsons was kind of an all or nothing guy this year. I think Nick Bosa showed up every single day, but that's the thing about these awards. It's a matter of opinion. Trust me, I don't want to give it to a 49er, but I do think that Bosa had the better year. Agree to disagree. All right, let's go ahead. We'll move on now. We'll go to comeback player of the year. I'm really interested to hear who you have for this one, Jesse. Go ahead.
So this one was really tough for me, to be honest with you. And I know a lot of people hate the fact that Geno Smith was considered for this award because his injury happened, several years ago. But it was between Geno Smith and Christian McCaffrey for me. I ended up going with Christian McCaffrey, especially because of what he did in the postseason. And you and I talked about it on the show last week. He was basically their entire offense in last week's NFC Championship game. Granted, we talked about the quarterback situation, but just what Christian McCaffrey brings to the San Francisco 49ers offense is something that he's done his entire career. Yes, he struggled with injury, but that injury that he came back from last year, a season ending again, it really is the epitome of what he is as a hard worker. And just to come back from that and put up the numbers that he did, even after the trade from Carolina, I think it gives him the edge over a player like Geno Smith. Even granted, the season that Smith had taking over in Seattle, I think he still had a great season, but Christian McCaffrey just had a sensational season.
I don't hate the pick for McCaffrey. I definitely don't. I think that he had a tremendous comeback season. And I also think Saquon Barkley had a tremendous comeback season. But you got me a little excited there. I thought we were going to go with the same guy. I did end up picking Geno Smith on this one. And here's the reason I picked him. With a guy like McCaffrey, we already knew that he had such a great potential to make this kind of comeback. Kind of the same thing with Saquon Barkley. With Geno, in the words of Geno Smith himself, everybody wrote him off. But you know what? He ain't right back. He ain't right back. Geno Smith, nobody expected this to happen, right? You trade your most likely Hall of Fame quarterback to another team. You get a quarterback back in return. You expect maybe Seattle, knowing that they're going to be a little bit more towards the bottom of the division, at least at the time, that was what the thought process was, to possibly even draft a quarterback. Geno won the battle outright in camp against Drew Lock. Geno leads the Seattle Seahawks to the playoffs. He has over 4,000 yards for the season. He throws for 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Nobody thought this was possible. This came so out of the blue that I think that Geno Smith's complete circle that he did in his career to come all the way back, have that kind of full circle moment, it's got to be Geno Smith for me. We're down to the final award. Let's go ahead and talk about our candidates for MVP. Jesse, I think there were 3 candidates who realistically could be the MVP. And mine might surprise you a little bit, but I'm going with the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going Jalen Hurts on this one. Because I look at a guy like Joe Burrow, who he did have a really, really hot end of the season. Didn't start out so hot. I'm looking at overall body of work. To me, that leaves 2 candidates, Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. So when I compare the numbers, Mahomes far exceeded Jalen Hurts in a number of total touchdowns, but he also doubled his interceptions. His touchdown to interception rate, pretty even when you compare it like that. Patrick Mahomes, 77%, Jalen Hurts, 79%. Completion percentage, also right there. Mahomes, 67.1, and then Jalen Hurts, 66.5. Hurts definitely had less passing yards, 37.01 compared to 52.50, but keep in mind, Hurts was out a few games this year. Jalen Hurts more than doubled the amount of rush yards that Mahomes got this year. And both of them being considered quarterbacks who are running threats who can take off and run. I think that bodes hugely in Jalen's favor. The record's pretty similar. Mahomes 16-3, Jalen 16-1, and that's including playoffs now. Here's where I say I find a fine line between the two and where I put Hurts slightly above Mahomes. We didn't really get a chance to see what the Chiefs could do without Mahomes, to see exactly what he meant to his team. I know he means a lot to his team. We saw when Jalen was out. When you put a capable guy in like Gardner Minshew couldn't get it done against these teams. And Jalen came back and he was hurt. And he dominated these teams in the playoffs. Mahomes scraped by the other 2 teams in the playoffs. Mahomes absolutely deserved those wins, but Jalen Hurts completely dominated the competition as soon as he came back. That's why I'm giving this award to Jalen Hurts.
That's fair. I mean, it came down to 2 guys for me. I didn't really put Joe Burrow in the conversation, to be honest with you. Not just because they're the 2 quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, but for the body of work that they put together this year, and the numbers you talked about with Hurts. But I went with Patrick Mahomes based on an even more in-depth look. The Chiefs have the number 1 scoring offense in the league, 29.6 points per game, number 1 in total offense. They also have the number 1 third down offense in the league. They also have the number 1 number 1 yards per play. And that's without Tyreek Hill in this offense anymore. You got to keep that in mind too. So, they're limited without, and you look at what he's been able to do in throwing out of the backfield now to guys like Isaiah Pacheco, who came out of nowhere. So another 5,040 season, 5,000 yards, 40 touchdown season, like he did in 2018. He won the MVP that year as well. So I understand Jalen Hurts had the better rushing numbers, and really the similar numbers of wins. But I just gotta give the nod to Mahomes in this one. It's really close. Jordan, I could flip a coin on this one, and it really, I could be fine either way, whatever the way the coin flips and it lands. Honestly, it's that close, really.
That's exactly how I feel about this award. Like I said, I had to go into the numbers and delve into it to see exactly where my allegiance lied, and kind of picked kind of based on my gut right there. But it would not shock me if either of these 2 won that award.
Exactly.
Last week, we had a couple guests on the show. I asked them to give us their favorite moments from the Super Bowl and their picks on the winner of Super Bowl 57.
Austin, give us your favorite Super Bowl memory.
Now, I'm a Steelers fan, as most people know. So one of my favorite Super Bowl memories is late in the first half, Steelers Super Bowl, James Harrison, 99-yard interception return for a touchdown. Quite possibly one of the greatest defensive plays, arguably, we've seen in Super Bowl history. It was just amazing. I mean, jumped up off my couch, could not stop screaming and just going crazy. I mean, obviously, the win is very important too, but just that moment right there, giving us that play, was one of my top moments. But my second top moment, this is a little bit different. Family, my brother is a younger brother. He's always been against every fandom that we are. So I'm a Lakers fan. He's a Celtics fan. So I'm a Steeler fan. He's an Eagles fan.
Jesus.
So we're about 10 years different, and he was pretty young when this happened. But the last time the Eagles won the Super Bowl was actually one of my favorite Super Bowl moments too, just to see the pure joy on his face and like what it means to him as being like the only Eagles fan in the room and in the family. And I don't know, that was like a really cool moment for me to see my brother get to feel what I felt for 2 Steelers Super Bowl championships. And then he got to see one for the Eagles. Obviously the Eagles are in the Super Bowl now, so we'll see if he gets that moment again.
That's dope, man. Like that's kind of a cool coincidence, actually. My whole family is all Raiders except for me and one of my brothers. I'm a Rams fan. He's an Eagles fan. So he's pretty stoked going into the Super Bowl too. He called me right away when they won the NFC Championship. He was singing the "Fly Eagles Fly," the chant. I'm not going to sing it right here because I have a terrible voice, but yeah, no, it was really cool. It's cool seeing other family members get their moment as well, as long as you get your moment. Sorry, Jesse.
But I mean, other Super Bowl, just real quick, other little Super Bowl things that we do, traditions, can be a little more tough now that I'm in Montana, is we like to host a Super Bowl parties every year. And I actually enjoy cooking up all the appetizers and things leading up to the big meal. And I'll have to cook you guys up some of these appetizers that I do. But I do I take a sheet pan, layer it with biscuits, right, to make almost like a window. So like 4 squares, and it's like 4 square dip. And it's like you got a pizza dip, you got a spicy spinach and artichoke dip, you've got a buffalo chicken dip, which is my personal specialty. And then the fourth one, I like to just mix it up and throw whatever's in there, but you bake it, and then those biscuits rise, and you just take the biscuits and you just scoop it in the dip, and it's quite possibly one of the best things you'll ever taste in your life. So
that sounds so good. Luckily, when this episode airs, I'll be off the diet, so I can start eating stuff like that. All right, real quick, Austin, your prediction for this Super Bowl.
Oh, geez. It's tough, right? Patrick Mahomes got the experience, got a couple weeks to rest that ankle. Kelsey's going to rest that back. I never want to count out Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, but I like the Eagles. I'm going to go, let's throw a score in there too. I think Jalen Hurts gets the job done. A.J. Brown is an absolute monster this year. And then everyone doesn't talk about Devontae Smith, who's a very solid fantasy option as well, but a great receiver. I'm going to say Eagles win, random score, 30-28.
30-28. Okay. Yeah, very close scoring game then.
Yeah, I think the Eagles get it done last second, or either way, Chiefs maybe try to make a comeback last second, doesn't quite make it there, but let's take the Eagles. Let's fly, Eagles fly, with my brother. So
all right, there we go. Kyle, why don't you go ahead and give us your favorite Super Bowl moment of all time? Could be a memory, could be an actual part of the game. Just fill us in on what your favorite thing about any Super Bowl, past or present, has been.
Sure. So when you posed this question to me the other day, 2 plays immediately came to mind. The first thing I thought of was Sean Payton had some big stones for calling that onside kick against the Colts. That play definitely stuck out in my mind as soon as you posed that question to me. The other great memory I have as far as like a Super Bowl play that really stood out was the Santonio Holmes catch. So Roethlisberger rolling out and Santonio Holmes literally tiptoeing in within an inch or 2 of the line and fully extended. And so when you pose that question to me, those were 2 iconic plays, and those were both now at this point over 10 years ago, but I still remember those plays vividly.
Yeah, both of those plays, man. Very, very good choices.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I need a prediction from you. We've got the Eagles, we've got the Chiefs. Who's taking home the Lombardi this year?
All right, so I feel pretty strongly about this. I think that not only will the Chiefs win, I don't think that at any point in the game the Chiefs will be down big and in major at major risk of losing. And here's why. The Eagles absolutely have the better roster top to bottom. That's not even a debate. At the top of the roster, however, I will absolutely put Mahomes, Kelsey, and Chris Jones up against whoever the best three players are in the Eagles. That's probably Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, and your choice of Hassan Reddick or perhaps Hurts or AJ Brown. So at the top of their rosters, I will absolutely take those guys as kind of foxhole guys for the Chiefs. So although there is a huge talent disparity top to bottom, I think big time players matter in big time games. And I do think the Chiefs have the high level talent to pull it out. The other thing is, I think something that is going under the radar that the Chiefs are going to be amazing at, that is going to neutralize Philadelphia, is the screen game. Probably the best screen coach in the history of the NFL is Andy Reid. The one area in which you can attack the Eagles is at the linebacking core. And if that is their one weakness, and you're going to have the Philadelphia linebacking core not only having to worry about Travis Kelce, but worry about McKinnon out of the backfield on screens, I think it sets up perfectly for Kansas City to do some ball control stuff, keep Philadelphia off the field, and most importantly, neutralize that Philadelphia pass rush. It's well known that to neutralize, especially speed rushers like Hassan Reddick, that guy gets up the field so quick that he can sometimes be out of position and be susceptible to the screen. So I think between Travis Kelce and between the Kansas City running backs, I think there's going to be 20 receptions combined from that position group there. I think it's going to keep Hurts off the field a little bit. It's going to neutralize the Philly rush, and it's going to attack the one weakness on that Philadelphia defense, which is the linebacking core. CJ Gardner is a heck of a safety, but if you're relying on him to match up against Kelce, and then you start getting those backs going out of the backfield, I think that's the one area in which Kansas City can take advantage. And look, if there's anyone I trust to put a game plan together to take advantage of a weakness, it's Andy Reid. And if there's any quarterback that I'm confident in executing something like that, it's absolutely Mahomes. So look, the Eagles are probably the better team. But in this game with these matchups, I think Kansas City wins. It's going to be close, but I don't foresee this as a game that at any time the Chiefs are down 14 or down 17 and having to storm back. I think it's going to be competitive. I think the Chiefs will be in control throughout. And I think they'll win, probably by 4 to 7 points or so. I'm expecting maybe a 27-20, something along those lines.
All great points. Yeah, the Eagles play a ton of nickel defense, so that is a great area of attack for sure.
I've never been more deathly afraid in my life for a segment than I am right now. We're going to test my trivia knowledge, and here to help me out is the former host of the Trivia Thunderdome, Eric Chatham. Eric, thanks for coming on today.
Happy to be here. Thank you very much for the invite. I'm happy to crush you with some trivia.
Yeah, I'm really nervous, but we'll see how I do.
All right, you got 3 categories, just so you're a little familiar with what you're getting yourself into. Black quarterbacks, Super Bowl blunders, and classic rules and regulations. You think you're up for it?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, first question. What Super Bowl contained the only halftime show with a nip slip?
That would be Super Bowl 38.
That is correct. So your first one. First of all, I'm proud of you, man. I'm rooting for you.
Janet Jackson, Super Bowl 38.
It's
Infamous.
increasingly difficult. So.
Okay. All right.
Next question. What mistake did John Casey make in Super Bowl 38?
So that's the same Super Bowl. 38. Oh, I want to say botched extra point.
That is correct. He kicked it way out of bounds. It was insane. In Super Bowl 27, which Dallas Cowboy recovered a fumble only to lose the ball and call a touchback in the fourth quarter?
I remember the play so well. Not from memory, but from watching video of it. But I cannot remember the player's name to save my life right now.
Oh, his first and last name both start with the letter L.
That's not even going to help me at this point. I can't even think of his name. Yeah.
Your first pass. I love it. It is
Yeah.
Leon Lett, the infamous
That's right.
Leon Lett fumble. What team completed a perfect 16-0 season only to lose Super Bowl 42?
So that would be the New England Patriots.
That is correct. New England Patriots. They did it so perfect. They could have wrapped it up. It was, oh man, you gotta love it though. I'm so excited to see Tom Brady lose. All right, next question. The largest blowout in Super Bowl history was between what two teams?
Is that the Super Bowl between the Chicago Bears and the New England Patriots?
That is incorrect. I'm sorry, bro. That would be the Niners and the Broncos in Super Bowl 24. The price of linebacker Lawrence Taylor's Super Bowl ring is the highest known price ever paid by a player, a whopping $230,000. What Super Bowl did he originally earn it in?
I got to think about that one for a second. Because I'm good from 30 on. When it starts to get below that, it's a little hazy to me because that's when I was in diapers / before I was born. Super Bowl 29 was the 49ers. 28 and 27 were the Cowboys. But was 26 or 25 the Giants? And was it even that Super Bowl? Because there was another one. Okay. Let's say Super Bowl 25.
That is correct. Hell yeah.
Got it.
That was awesome. When you went through it in your mind, I was just like, he's going to get it. He's going to get it. The almost 2 foot tall Vince Lombardi trophy is made of 7 pounds of sterling silver and costs $50,000 to create. What luxury jewelry house has the honor of doing so?
Oh, come on, man. No clue.
No clue?
No clue.
I knew the last one would be the hardest. It's okay. You got the majority of this round. That would be Tiffany and Company.
Okay.
Tiffany and Company makes the Vince Lombardi trophy ever since the first one. Black quarterbacks or rules and regs?
Black quarterbacks.
Oh, I love this round. All right, to start it off, I'll give you an easy one. Name a Black Eagles Pro Bowler.
Donovan McNabb.
Bam, give me one more.
Michael Vick.
Boom, you're on fire. That doesn't get you an extra point, though. I just wanted to flex.
For sure, man.
All right, next question. Who was the first Black winning Super Bowl quarterback?
That would be Doug Williams.
That is correct. Redskin
Absolutely.
Doug Williams. What NFL record did quarterback Terrell Pryor set that remains to this day?
Oh, Terrell Pryor. Most touchdowns ran for in a game by a quarterback.
That is correct. You said it right. You started to go. I was like, I don't know if he's going to do it, but that is correct. Name a Black quarterback named league MVP.
Patrick Mahomes.
Boom.
Easy,
that's
man.
right. That's
Easy.
right. Give me another one.
Another one? Cam Newton.
Solid.
Yeah.
Who was the first Black quarterback to win Rookie of the Year? Michael Vick, Vince Young, or Cam Newton?
Michael Vick.
That is incorrect.
Damn, I thought he did.
It was Vince Young.
It was Vince Young. Yeah.
All right, next question. Name a Black quarterback who was a overall first-round draft pick.
Let's go with Jamarcus Russell on this one.
Solid pick. Congratulations. You're all still on fire, man. What team has signed the most Black quarterbacks ever?
Ooh, wow, that's a really good one. Strictly because of how prominent the Black quarterbacks have been on this team historically,
Okay.
I'm gonna say the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, they were second. Man,
No way.
I'm sorry. They were second place by 2 quarterbacks. The winning team with the most Black quarterbacks would be the Baltimore Ravens.
You know what? That was
the
the other one that went into my head, just because.
Oh,
I mean,
beautiful.
that was the other team I had in mind as well. Damn.
Name all 5 positions of the generic offensive line?
You have your left and right tackles, you have your left and right guards, and you have your center.
That is correct. Easy question out the gate. They will get harder.
I wish they would all say that easy, but yeah, let's go.
Hey, next one's a bit of a softball too. You be all right. What has occurred when the ball carrier gets downed or tackled in their own end zone?
That is a safety.
That is correct. 2
Perfect.
points.
All right.
When a coach loses a challenge, his team also loses what?
They lose a timeout.
That is correct. You're burning up these. This is fantastic. How many yards are painted on the gridiron?
It really just depends on the phrasing. But there are yard numbers painted for every 10. So that would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. So I'll say 9.
That is correct.
Okay.
If the clock never stopped, how long would an NFL game be?
It would be 1 hour.
That is correct. How shocking. Right? Besides the referee and the umpire, name one of the 7 officials in each NFL game.
How about a back judge?
That is correct.
All right.
I also would have taken side judge, field judge, line judge, and down judge. What has occurred when one team gets possession from the other team in the end zone during a turnover, punt, or kickoff?
I thought this category would be a lot harder than this.
Oh.
So I'm not disappointed. I'm saying I'm proud of myself for knowing all of this.
All
Because
right.
the answer to this one is a touchback.
That is correct.
All right.
Sir.
Nice.
Super Bowl blunders, rules and regulations, and black quarterbacks, man, I'm very proud of you. I tried to stump you, and I got you a few times. But boy, did you pull out the win.
You know what? I feel like it would be a little bit foolish of me to have a sports podcast if I didn't know something about sports. So thank you for testing my knowledge. There's some I definitely should have had that I didn't get. Eric, thank you so much for joining the podcast, for taking the time. I know you're a busy man. Real quick, let me get your take on the Super Bowl. Who's winning, Philly or KC?
Oh, Philly or KC? I think it's because I am like a die-hard It's Always Sunny fan. Eagles all day.
All right.
Eagles all day.
Right on, man. Hey, thanks again for stopping by, man.
Oh, happy to do so. And hey, you keep that Circus Catch going, man. We love it.
All right. Awesome, man. Thank you for the support.
Of course. Take it easy.
You too. Earlier in the week, I got a chance to hang out with a couple old buddies of mine and a couple old friends of the Circus Catch. Let's get their takes on their favorite memories from the Super Bowl and their picks for this one coming up.
I got a handful of them, man. I've had the luxury and the privilege to attend 3 Super Bowls, like to actually go to the games. Obviously, because my brother, he played for the Seahawks. They went to 2, winning one of them. And then also I went to the one recently in Miami where it was San Francisco and Kansas City. So all 3 of them were amazing experiences, but I would probably say the best one for me is when it was Seattle against Denver. We whooped them 43-9, I believe. And my brother, he had the fastest score in Super Bowl history. If you remember Peyton Manning, the Broncos, they had the ball first, and the snap was too high, and it went over Peyton's head into the end zone. And my brother chased it down, and they got a safety on the first play of the game. And that happened in 12 seconds. And that was the fastest score in Super Bowl history.
And that messed up a lot of people's Super Bowl squares that year.
That messes up squares, yes. And still a little bitter about it because Cliff Averill should have been the Super Bowl MVP, but you know, we're not going to go down that route. But that was one of my many favorite Super Bowl memories is that Super Bowl victory in New York. My brother getting that score and just the overall win. And afterwards, we party hardy. We took that city over. Oh my gosh! So,
yeah, a rare Super Bowl in New York. I remember that. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
And Jeez, yeah, that was one of the most dominant performances ever by a defense in a Super Bowl. Right
A
up
lot of
there
people
with
say
yeah.
a lot of people say it was just a bad game. It was the best game I've ever seen. It was the best game I've ever seen. I was so afraid the whole time because it's Peyton Manning. You never know with Peyton Manning. So I'm like, yeah, guys, all gas, no brakes. All gas, no brakes. And when Percy Harvin returned that kickoff at the beginning of the second half, at that point I kind of like, all right, cool, we won. We got this.
Can never get too comfortable though, because you saw what happened with Matt Ryan.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Exactly. And I actually think that is a nice segue into mine because it is the year of the 28-3. Because over the years, a lot of my friends, we've always had Super Bowl parties, and it's always been a home engagement, no matter what. Usually cooking food, just getting together and enjoying the game. And for me, because my best friend is pretty much like my brother. And the great thing about that is, while over the years we've transitioned to hosting the Super Bowl at my house now, but him and his wife were always hosting. And I knew that once I got married and we were going to be doing a lot more, eventually I was going to want to be taking over the Super Bowl party. But that year, we kind of went all out, just him and me. We got like really prime cuts of steak. We baked a cheesecake. We just went all out for our meal. And then everyone else pretty much had little chips and dips and party foods. But we wanted to eat like kings that day and enjoy a good game because we were looking forward to this one. I don't know why, just this day in general, but it worked and we enjoyed it. And I just still remember it because that was one of those pictures that him and I have where we're holding like this cheesecake that we baked because we're like, yeah, we're men, we can bake. What? And we just enjoyed being able to brag about that. And it was still to this day one of the best cheesecakes I've had in my life. But for me, it's always, since I have no skin in the game when it comes to my team ever going to possibly make the Super Bowl, I don't know. But I just like to host the party, cook some good food, and enjoy the game in the company of great people. That's mostly me.
The person who cooks the best food is always the most popular person at the Super Bowl party. Always. You make me hungry, man. I'm glad I'm off the diet this week. Oh, I'm so pumped to be eating some good food during Super Bowl Sunday. All right, guys. It's time for Super Bowl predictions. I need you guys' predictions, and I need scores.
I am going to predict the Kansas City Chiefs winning this Super Bowl this year. He's going to be the Super Bowl MVP. Patrick Mahomes will be the Super Bowl MVP, and he's going to get his second ring and put him in the next status for his Hall of Fame status. And it's going to be 27-24 because I don't want the Eagles to win, even though I do love Jalen Hurts. He's a Houston guy, but I want the city of Philadelphia to go through so much misery this year because they lost the MLS final. They lost the World Series. Let them lose the Super Bowl. Let the Sixers make it to the finals and lose that. Let's get all of the teams in Philadelphia to lose in the championships. Let's make it happen. Boom.
That sounded way too personal.
Yeah.
They throw D batteries at Santa Claus. They booed Santa Claus. You don't boo Santa.
Yeah. Philly can be rough, man.
I gotta say, I'm rooting for Jalen Hurts, man. I like the kid, man. He's a stud. I hate Philly in general, but I'm rooting for Jalen. I think the Eagles will win. I'm going to go 34-28 Eagles.
34-28. High scoring Super Bowl. I like it.
I also want to add one more thing about Philadelphia because I do have some bitterness towards Philadelphia fans. Y'all were gloating and boasting whenever the Astros lost. Y'all shut out the Astros in game 3, 8-0. And then you get no hit, but fans were leaving the ballpark, especially with how expensive those tickets were to that game. You're going to walk out and not witness history at all. When was the last time there was a no-hitter in the World Series? In the 1950s. You walked out, you missed history, and you got butthurt. That's what you deserve. That's what you deserve.
Okay, guys, we're back at the White House. No, not that White House. This White House. Zach, why don't you tell us what's in front of us right here?
All right, so we have here is a jalapeno popper spinach artichoke dip made by my wife Vanessa. She's an awesome cook, and we eat it on Super Bowl, and people love it. It's delicious.
Now, I actually haven't been over to your house during any of the Super Bowls, so I have not had this yet, and I cannot wait to try it. How can we find your wife's cooking on socials?
She's on Instagram at crescent.cooks.
Perfect. You want to dig in with me? Because this looks amazing. How do you dig in with the spoon? Do you just go for it with the bread? Are you dangerous like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll get it started with the spoon, and then you can kind of dip in after.
Oh, absolutely.
You get a healthy little serving there.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm so glad I'm off the diet right now. I lost enough weight.
It was delicious.
That's amazing. And this is going to be posted on her page later on, so definitely check that out. I'll give you guys the link at the end of the podcast. Oh, yeah. If you have any extra, send it my way.
We can do that.
Absolutely. Growing up, did you guys have any favorite traditions as far as like food or drinks or anything like that during the Super Bowl?
No, not necessarily. I mean, growing up, my dad didn't really watch a whole lot of football. I mean, he watched it, but he wasn't really a team fan. My mom watched for quarterbacks. So if Peyton Manning wasn't in it growing up, nobody really watched it.
I get you.
Till I was a teenager. So
I was a Rams fan obviously growing up, but one of my non-favorite Rams was Peyton Manning, or one of my favorite non-Rams was Peyton Manning for sure.
Yeah.
On offense, and then defense, I actually took a liking to Ray Lewis pretty early.
Oh yeah.
That was my favorite defensive guy growing up.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't get enough of this. I'm gonna keep stuff in my face with this. I'm gonna let you guys watch the rest of the show. I am gonna stuff my face, so we're gonna find out what's next right now. Thank you guys for bearing with me over this incredibly long episode. An episode where I am feeling completely under the weather, but I wanted to make sure I got this one out because this is a very important episode to me. Jesse couldn't be here to take us home. He had a family issue come up, so he's dealing with that right now. He did want me to relay his pick, however. He is taking the Kansas City Chiefs by a score of 38-33. So down to my pick now. When I thought about this one, I thought about where these teams have come from, their journeys throughout the season, exactly what they had to overcome. With Philadelphia, you have a young crop of talent coming up. You have the acquisition of A.J. Brown. You have a lot of guys who are young and inexperienced, but they are mixed with the guys on the team that are experienced, such as Lane Johnson and Jason Kelce, bringing them into the fold and getting them to believe in themselves and to believe in Nick Sirianni. And to do that and to get to where they are right now is just an incredible story. So my heart definitely sides with the Philadelphia Eagles. As I've mentioned before, my brother is an Eagles fan. We had an Eagles fan on the show today. A lot of ties to that group of guys right there. But when I take a closer look at it, I have to say, even though my heart's in Philly, my head's in KC. So I am going to be taking the Kansas City Chiefs in this game. I feel like Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, these core group of guys, Chris Jones, they're not looking to just win a Super Bowl. They're looking to start a dynasty. Patrick Mahomes has been labeled the next GOAT, the next Tom Brady, the next guy. Well, you can't be the next Tom Brady if you've only won one Super Bowl. I feel like this is going to be the start on a journey of many to reach this dynasty. It's not an easy thing to do. Not a lot of teams have done it. And now that we're up to 32 teams, it's incredibly hard to do. Only Tom Brady, since we've had the addition of the Houston Texans and the addition of the Jaguars and Panthers and Ravens, and to get all these new teams into the league, Tom Brady's the only one that's successfully been able to do it. Patrick Mahomes wants to be the second. And the conversation, if Mahomes is successful, for a long time is going to be Brady or Mahomes. Brady's already got a huge leg up on him, not just because of the 7 Super Bowls, but because Brady is 2-0 versus Mahomes in the playoffs. And that's something Mahomes can never overcome because Brady is now retired. So Mahomes has a long ways to go. I know he's a humble superstar, But if you don't think this matters to him, if you don't think this matters to Travis Kelce to beat his brother, you don't think this matters to Andy Reid to beat his former team in the Super Bowl, this matters to all of these guys. They're going to stay quiet about it right now because they are humble. Trust me, it matters to these guys. I am taking the Chiefs, and I am taking them by a final score of 29-23. Thank you guys for checking out this episode. It was incredible going all over the place, seeing all my old friends, getting us all in the same place at the same time, being able to talk to everybody about their Super Bowl experiences. I hope you guys have a great one, and we'll see you next week. So long.